Hi class! So this is our second video where we're going to talk about temperament and probably get into personality. We'll see how far we get. So infants come into the world with different early personalities. So this early personality is called temperament. It is really not whether a child has a temper or not, right? We often think, a child has a good temperament or a bad temperament. It's not really like that. Instead, a temperament is just the different behaviors, emotions, the typical ways that we respond to the environment. So you can see here in this little picture that this little boy is like jumping up and down, whereas it looks like his two siblings are a little bit more quiet. So what we're talking about is like this child's temperament might be a lot more energetic, have a lot bigger emotions compared to these two little boys that don't, that are a little bit more subdued. So we see these differences in childhood, early personality. So some of the things that we can do to kind of figure out, well, what is a child's temperament? How does the child respond to new situations? So if you have a baby and you bring them to a restaurant, for example, how is that baby responding? Are they looking around and excited? Are they fearful and inhibited? How does that child respond to frustration? We saw this actually with Emily and Jack. Emily's like, yeah, I'll try to get to that toy. And it's just kind of like, all right. I didn't get it. Whereas Jack was throwing almost a tantrum. He was really upset by the fact that he couldn't get the toy. So he was very frustrated. Can they control their behavior and their emotions? And, if they are starting to cry and become upset, can you easily soothe that child? So there are multiple ways that we really categorize temperament. And your book talks, I think, about 3 of them. I'm going to cover 2 of them here. The first of which is Rothbard and Bates. And they came out and said that there's 3 things that we really need to look at. First off is extroversion. How much does that infant or child actually, get a lot of, how do I want to say this? How much does that child actually experience other people and get energy from other people, right? So when we think about extroversion as adults, we kind of think about we love being around other people and those types of things. So if a baby is a smiling baby and is just so happy to see other people and wants to, hold other people's hands, right? That might show a lot of extroversion. Whereas there might be a subdued baby that's just kind of like, meh, I don't really need other people very much. And that is a low level of extroversion. We also have negative affectivity. So how much negative emotions is that child showing? Do they have strong emotions when it comes to frustration, for example, or being alone, right? All of those things is that negative affectivity. We also have effortful control. So how well are they able to, change emotions or regulate their own emotions or even, pay attention to different things? All of those things kind of fall under that bigger umbrella of effortful control. We also have other researchers who are looking at behavioral inhibition. And this is kind of like a mix of extroversion and I think an effortful and negative affectivity. But children who are high in behavioral inhibition, when they see new things, like they might see a new person or new toy, for example, they really are inhibited. So they're kind of withdrawing within themselves. They may look really shy and fearful. And they might just, kind of express a lot of emotions when something is new. And this might be that these babies might have a harder time tolerating uncertain things. So might be afraid of, what's going to happen if they're not, if they aren't sure about what's going to happen, right? So they aren't sure, so they're going to be inhibited and not go towards something. What we know about this is that temperament is biological in nature. So you might want to think about it as genetics, right? We come out of the womb with a certain type of temperament, but at the same time, our environment can still influence how we react. So we have something called a goodness of fit. So if you have a child who is very active and maybe has, less negative affectivity, right? You might want to engage in a little bit more rough and tumble play because that child needs a little bit more interactions in that way. Whereas if you have a child who's really subdued and, cries a bit more, but is easily soothed, you might want to spend a lot of time reading with that kid. So this compatibility is called the goodness of fit. So we can kind of think about it as how a parent matches their style to what the baby needs and what that temperament is like. So just to kind of get you thinking about it, how could you ensure that there was goodness of fit if you knew this about these kids? So a parent might have a very active 6-month-old and needs to wait at the Arizona Department of Transportation for 1 hour. What can that parent do? Or the 2-month-old that Nancy's babysitting is calm and quiet. What can Nancy do, right? And Matthias, who's a 1.5-year-old, is not very sociable and needs to go to daycare for the first time. What can you do to ensure that you have goodness of fit? So I will leave you on that to really think about it. And in our next video, we'll get into personality.